Brother, thanks for this, and really great to connect with you again.
All right, pal. Take care. Okay, folks, what we're going to do is we're going to take a commercial break and come back with my second guest, Jeff Harman. He's a master astrologer, has over 2,000 clients, and has been practicing for over 35 years. He's helped many people maximize their success with selectional astrology, the art of picking an auspicious time to open a business, sign a lease, or launch a website. So I'm excited about this. I can't wait to get back here. We'll be right back.
Live at Choice, where your imagination becomes your reality. If you can imagine it, it's possible. If you can believe it, it's yours. We get it. You're done with the way it is now. You're finished with all the frustration around why you feel stuck and your life isn't working. Imagine what your life would be like if you could have all the answers and see new possibilities. We at Live at Choice choose to make a difference. Live at Choice has developed a proven process and a series of questions that lead participants to the answers they seek, gaining new understanding and self-awareness for both your personal and professional life. If you're ready to get to the life you want, contact us today. Visit liveatchoice.com to get started.
Attention entrepreneurs, it's time to get real. Real about who you are, where you want to be, and what you're willing to do to get there. To make the leap from just getting by to making real money and making a real difference in this world takes a plan and certain skills. If you are serious about building a business that makes a difference in this world, join Michelle Sism at her Legacy Live event in Houston, Texas, September 10th through the 12th. Learn more at legacyliveevent.com. We will see you there.
Did you know that an estimated 52 million Americans listened to Internet radio in the last month? Or that weekly Internet radio audience has increased 60% over the last year? And that more than 8 in 10 people are online from any location? Tough Talk Radio Network is a company dedicated to providing a platform that allows opportunities for guests, hosts, and sponsors to market themselves to the Internet radio medium where they can be heard by millions. To find out how Tough Talk Radio Network can help you, go to toughtalkradionetwork.com.
All right, welcome back to Workshop Wednesdays. My name is Tony Gambone. I'm your host here every Wednesday from 10:30 to 11:30 Central Standard Time here on the Tough Talk Radio Network. Find out more about us by going to toughtalkradionetwork.com. Or you can actually call into the show and talk to the guest, 347-989-1363. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. Okay, so, folks, my first guest, Ken Dunn, great guest, great guy. If you haven't had the pleasure of meeting him, make sure to check him out on readerslegacy.com. And my second guest is a gentleman by the name of Jeff Harman. And as I mentioned, he's an astrologer, and he has over 2,000 clients that he's been practicing with. And he's had a lot of success in when helping people make a choice, whether to open a business, sign a lease, or launch a website. Okay, it's very useful. Astrology is very useful for making decisions. And well, I know for myself, I want to find out what's coming up in my world, but this show is going to be about the listeners. So call into the show, find out what's coming up to your world, 347-989-1363. And Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Tony.
It's my pleasure. Jeff, I'd like to let people find out a couple of things. First of all, where you're calling in from, where you're from originally.
Well, I'm calling in from California right now. I'm out in a little place called West Hills, which is right next to Malibu and Calabasas. So yeah, that's where I'm from originally. It's actually the Midwest, way up north in a little town called Eagle River. It's actually Sainer is where I'm originally from, but I moved out to the Los Angeles area many years ago, and I lived in Tucson for a while. We've been moving around, so.
Yeah, very good. So a lot better weather.
It's nice weather here. You can't beat 75 degrees all year long, no.
Yeah, especially in the winter. So yeah. So Jeff, now I mean, you're a master astrologer. You've been doing it for over 35 years. So
actually, I'm feeling old. It'll be 40 years about next year, because it was about 1975 was when my mother first introduced it to me, and I actually thought I was skeptical. I said, come on, this stuff doesn't work. But what she got me into was my girlfriends, because at the time I was driving, and she was just so spot on, and she actually was a nurse practitioner, and she was really quite good at it, I have to say, and that's how I got into it.
So
originally,
okay, in today's world, it's like back in 1975, that was probably the closest thing to witchcraft that people were talking about.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Some people still think it is.
Right, and things have changed. I mean, holistic medicine is, healing has gotten more recognized,
Sure.
and astrology and all the different things. And so I just want to make sure of something. We're not saying that you can predict the future. Is that safe to say?
Well, that's a good way to put this. And I'm glad you broached this subject, because this is one I have to contend with externally all the time. Again, like I have to say, in the 80s, I actually taught a physics class at college, and I was teaching basic electronics and music theory. And the interesting thing is, on the other side, I'm doing astrology, this woo-woo science. I have to tell you, prior to the 1700s, astrology was astronomy. There was no difference. Benjamin Franklin said it best. He said, no emperor, no king, no general would commence an important act without first looking at electional astrology. I actually have a mural with George Washington in his apron, Masonic apron, and they're laying the cornerstone of this country's foundation, for the Capitol, at a very specific astrological time. And this has been a well-kept secret, because the religions have made this out to be it's worshiping the devil or playing with the divination and all that. And, not to get convoluted here, but this goes way back to the Vulgate translations, back in the early, with the Nicene councils. We're talking here about 400 AD, 500 AD. And they basically said any divinatory practices whatsoever are the work of the devil. And the problem with that is, they're right. I agree with them in one sense. That was summoning spirits and all that woo-woo stuff that actually does go on still today in some secret societies. But it's the art of divination through astrology was always a divine act. It was, in fact, you can get your guardian angel from your birth chart.
Right.
Now, I don't know what's too demonic about that.
Right, and knowing that God created the stars and the earth and everything around us, doesn't mean that He didn't leave messages in that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The fascinating thing about this astrology is the ancient stuff is practical. For instance, if you want to ask a question, is it in my best interest to sue so-and-so, and if so, will I win? Should I marry so-and-so? Is this business my best course of action? These are what we call interrogations. You don't even need your birth chart. And you mentioned before, is this predicting the future? No, it's not. It's predicting probable outcomes based on current states of consciousness. And if you think about that, everybody's got their belief system, and they're usually going to stick to it. Some people change, but for the most part, when somebody's really engaged in a business pursuit emotionally, they're going to pursue it. And God bless them for that, because drive and passion and talent and skills are the most important thing any entrepreneur can ever have. And I always tell people, don't expect astrology to replace that one. If you don't know what you're doing, if you are not passionate about what you're doing. So I run into that a lot, where people, well, geez, do you think, does the chart say I'll become a millionaire? Well, buddy, you're probably going to have a little bit of a rough time. The guys that I like, that come in here, and they're already usually millionaires, and they're saying, okay, I'm going here. Tell me what's in my way. Now, that's a whole different attitude. Astrology is like a stop-and-go light. It's when the light's green, you're probably going to do a lot better crossing the intersection, right, than when it's red. But you better know how to drive. And that's the key. Astrology very similar, is like an airline pilot taking off. Okay, if you got somebody leaving Houston, Texas, and they're flying to New York or L.A., I don't want to be with the pilot who says, geez, do you think we'll make it? No, you want to be with the pilot who says, we're going to L.A. or New York, okay? Look at the radar. What's in our way? Oh, we got a storm over here. Guess what? We're not going to go that way, and if we do, we're going to fly above it. That's how astrology is it allows you to see on the radar screen what's there so you can make a more strategic plan of attack for your business. And if you use it superstitiously, well, that's something I don't involve myself with. It's a very scientific, practical tool. Location astrology as well is amazing. I've had psychiatrists and psychologists as clients and still do. And it's amazing how accurate we have found the emotional response to where you live. There's longitude and latitude lines for everyone. Everyone's different. There's also progressions in transit that change throughout your life. And most importantly, there's cycles that we take no matter where we move on the globe. So, again, nothing replaces skill, talent, passion, drive, and I think passion and drive are two of the most magical, amazing things that human beings have and computers and machines will never have. That's why we are divine. And that's the magic, I think, of being an entrepreneur.
So, they say, if you believe it, it could happen, right? And if you go out with the right mindset of so if you put all positive words in your mouth instead of all negative words, which is really difficult to do, but you're going to have more success with the positive side of things. At least you'll feel better, right? So when we talk about astrology, a lot of times, I guess this is my question, do people just compare that to the horoscope?
Well, it is. Astrology is complex. You have birth chart readings. I use an older system. It's actually, believe it or not, we don't know if it's Egyptian or Babylonian or Greek. That's one system that basically shows up like 200-300 BC, or if not earlier. It was a very cohesive system back then. And then I also use the stuff out of India. So there's a bunch of branches in that. And what it is, you have your birth chart, which is basically personal cycles, and everybody's got them. Then you have the art of electional astrology, which is picking auspicious times to get married, start LLCs, to open a business. I do a lot of business grand openings all the time. I could tell so many stories about that. It's fascinating. I'll tell you one real brief story. There was a guy in West Hollywood. Oh God, this had to be 15, 20 years ago. He was completely empty, and the restaurant across the street, which was the Earth Cafe at the time, next to the Bodhi tree, was packed. You lying around the block, couldn't get a table. So I needed to work, so I went in there really quick, and I said, hey, how come there's only 3 flies here, and that guy's got lying around the block? He goes, I don't know, but he says, I know one thing. He says, if I don't change this, he says, I'm going bankrupt. He said, I borrow money from my family, and on and on. I said, well, what time did you open this place? And he says, oh, I remember. It was 2-3 years ago, whenever it was. He said, it was exactly at this time. So I cast a chart. I said, I'm going to do you a favor. I cast a chart. I said, number one, buddy, I said, you opened at a really nasty time. The moon was making a 0-degree conjunction to Saturn. Plain English on that one, you might as well put a canvas over the place. Nobody saw it. Completely negative energy. And this is all math and geometry. So he said, well, what can I do? I said, you got to reopen. I said, I would change the menu, even change the name if you can, but reopen. He said, I'll do anything. I'm going broke. So it was interesting. I don't know, it was about, probably about a week or 2 later, I came up with a really good time for him. And I said, the only time I can get for you to open is at night. And he goes, that's fine. I don't care. I'll do it. I says, and your business will probably lean towards night. So he did. He reopened it. And this is a true story. That guy was cooking after that. He invited all his friends and everybody to come for the big party. And I remember going in there about, probably a month later. He's like, Jeff. Of course, I got free dinners for a long time. And he ended up selling that place, 3 or 4 years later at a really nice profit. It was a horrible location too. So there's a lot of usages in business for astrology, because if someone has their heart, soul, and money into what they're doing, what electional astrology does is gives you